Hey, what's up you guys, it's Caboose bringing you another Gotham Knights video, and today what I got for you guys is some more news to go over that we got out of CCXP this past weekend. Yes, it's another interview, okay? Patrick Redding did a video interview for CCXP in which he gave us a little more details about the Bat family members and some context about some things that happened in the world leading up to the events of the game. But before we get into everything, I wanted to ask you guys, of course, if at any point you enjoy the video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support. And I would really appreciate it. So if you enjoy the video at any point, leaving a like rating would be awesome. And also, if you're new here and you're looking forward to Gotham Knights, well then I got your back. I'm making videos on all the news and updates for the game. When it inevitably comes out in 2021, you're going to see a Let's Play on this channel, free roam gameplay, the whole 9 yards. Anything and everything you want to know about Gotham Knights, I got you covered. So if you'd like to, you can subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to be immediately notified when a video goes live. And with all that being said, let's jump into this. So as I mentioned at the top of the video, Patrick Redding did another interview, this time a video interview for CCXP. This is essentially a Comic-Con that takes place in Brazil. And during the interview, he was kind of asked some of the questions that he's already answered before, and there is for the most part information that we've already heard before, but he did provide a couple of extra tidbits specifically about the Bat family and what's going on with them. So first up is Batgirl, and essentially what he talks about here is, well, first of all, the fact that Jim Gordon in this universe is dead, which we do know about, and Patrick Redding quickly says it was something that happened while he was on duty, and it happened a couple of years before the events of Gotham Knights. And then some information that we already know about was reiterated. You know, Barbara Gordon was Oracle at one point in this world, but we learned that she actually goes through multiple surgeries and years worth of rehabilitation before she becomes Batgirl again. Now, it's not necessarily new information. I think everyone would have guessed that that's what happened, but the bio for the character on the Gotham Knights website didn't really make mention of the fact that she went through multiple surgeries. You know, the bio on the website pretty much stated that she went through extensive training and rehabilitation and then she could walk again. And then when it comes to the rehabilitation itself, well, it wasn't something that just happened in a month or even a year. It was something that was years worth of work. And then Patrick Redding once again lets us know about the fact that she uses her time as Oracle and incorporates that into her combat as Batgirl. And then moving on from that, we get some information about Nightwing, which I know a lot of people have been asking about. And it turns out when it comes to Nightwing's characterization, he's a bit of a wisecrack in the game, and to quote Patrick Redding directly, he is the big brother of the group. When it comes to his combat, well, Patrick Redding describes him as a bit of a ping-pongy character that can take on multiple enemies at once, obviously utilizing the acrobatics and all that. And I'm hoping soon, maybe at the Game Awards, we can kind of see all this visualized for us. Another interesting thing to note that Patrick Redding mentions about Nightwing is that when it comes to his gameplay in co-op, he may be a bit of a support character. It's mentioned that since he's sort of the natural leader of the group, when you're playing in co-op, there may potentially be a skill tree that allows you the opportunity to buff your teammate. All I'm saying is, I'm a Red Hood main no matter what, so if I'm playing online and somebody's a Nightwing main, and they're running that support tree and giving me some buffs, we are going to wreck shop, or at least I will. And hey, speaking of Red Hood, this is the next character that Patrick Redding starts to describe in this interview, and oh my goodness, he provides some pretty interesting info. So he starts off by talking about Red Hood, or Jason Todd's origin, which if you're a fan of the character, you'll know exactly what that's about. You'll know the fact that he was killed by Joker, resurrected through the Lazarus Pit, and brought back, becomes Red Hood. And now here's a direct quote from Patrick Redding after he was describing a little bit about Jason Todd's origin. He says, in our storyline, he starts to discover some things about how he was resurrected that allow him to unlock certain parts of his progression. New abilities allowing to kind of evolve and change the style of superhero that he is. Now we've heard a little bit of this before. It was described to us that we were potentially going to get some idea about what happens to Jason Todd within the story of this game, and we know that the Demon's Head was one of the logos that we got when they were teasing this game a long time ago. But what I can maybe interpret here when it comes to gameplay is that we're going to use the Lazarus Pit in some way for Red Hood. Maybe we find the Lazarus Pit as Red Hood, we steal some samples of it, get it reproduced, and now Red Hood has an ability in his skill tree that allows him to heal himself. I know some people are not down for the fact that this game is going to be an RPG, but I'm all for it, and the way that they're potentially going to mix some of the lore into RPG elements is awesome. And then last up, Patrick Redding gives a little breakdown for Robin. He says, of course, the character is the youngest of the group, pretty much a teenager in this game, and he's meant to be one of the more stealthy ones of the group, and that's sort of the core of his gameplay. Here's another direct quote from Patrick Redding, this time, of course, about Robin. He says, over time, he sort of reinvents himself as this kind of vengeful specter that's haunting the streets and alleyways of Gotham. I wonder if he's talking from a narrative perspective, or if this is kind of the Robin you'll become when he's maxed out and fully upgraded. But then Patrick Redding continues saying he uses a lot of tools around things like status effect and manipulating and messing with the AI as a way of fighting crime as sort of his equalizer. I like getting these extra tidbits, whether it's in gameplay or in story, because we get a bit more context in how we're going to be playing these characters. You know, up until this point, all we really knew when it came to gameplay for Robin was that he uses a watchtower satellite to teleport. I also like that, and this isn't necessarily specific to the game, each member of the Bat family takes one core piece of Batman and makes that their form of combat. You know, Batgirl's into the gadgets. She's very much using the tech when it comes to her combat. Nightwing is acrobatic. He's all over the place, very hard to hit. Red Hood is more brutal. He's ruthless. He's got that blunt force, using his power to take down enemies. And then Robin is more on the stealthy side, getting in, taking down an enemy, getting out without being seen. And again, this isn't necessarily an original idea that was conceptualized with Gotham Knights. This is certainly something that we've seen within the comic books for all these sidekicks, but I like that they're utilizing that within the gameplay for the Bat family. And hey, a big shout outs to Play G Knights for breaking down a lot of what was seen during that CCXP interview with Patrick Redding. I was able to watch the interview myself, but they summarized it really well. Check out their Twitter, linked in the description. And hey, before we go, let me showcase for you guys some concept art that we got from the Gotham Knights social media pages over the last couple of weeks. First up, we got some concept art of Robin's base suit in the game, which I gotta be honest is the weakest of the four characters. I don't think it's a terrible looking suit by any means, but I'll just say that I'm very much looking forward to getting him customized right away. Then we got the concept art for Nightwing's base suit in the game, which I think looks great. Nothing too fancy, keeping it traditional, and then of course having that iconic logo there on the chest. And then last up, we got some concept art of the Elliott Center, which you've seen actually in the gameplay demo where it's all frozen up from Mr. Freeze, but yes, this is what it looks like without the ice. That name as well does have some significance, and hopefully we see a villain tied to that name show up in Gotham Knights. That would be pretty sweet. I did some speculating about that in a previous video, which you can check on the channel already. I'll leave a card at the top as well. I also really quickly wanted to show for you this screenshot of Batgirl on a Batcycle. We've seen this before technically. It's the thumbnail for the Batgirl gameplay demo, but this is the first time we're seeing it in HD without the Gotham Knights logo covering the screen. You can just see it in all its glory here. And with all that being said, now I want to kick it to you guys. Let me know your thoughts on everything covered in this video in the comments section below. First off, let me know your thoughts on all the details provided for each member of the Bat family through that CCXP interview with Patrick Redding. I know some of you have already made up your mind on which character you want to main, but has some of the information from that interview maybe changed your mind? Let me know your thoughts on that. And I also want to hear what you guys have to say about some of the concept art that was showcased. Sound off on everything. Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support and I would really appreciate it. I'm Caboose, and you can click on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are going to be in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.